September 9th, Saturday, 5:40 Mountain Time, 8:40 Eastern Time, 2017. National Hurricane Center has updated Irma, and the track is still pretty much the same, except for the forward speed has dropped to 7 miles per hour. That's not good. Yesterday it was around 16, 15 miles per hour. Now it's got twice as much time to strengthen and change its path. Right now the path is still the same. All of the models are still in agreement. But if that thing's moving a lot slower, it could definitely change one way or another. So that's something to think about. But that forward speed is a very important number. Right now it's still a Category 3, 120 mile an hour winds. The pressure is slowly falling, I will say that. So the storm is strengthening very slowly. When this storm was a Category 5, possibly even a 4 when it went by the Bahamas, a strange phenomenon occurred. They got it on video. These guys were walking out on the ocean because they could see dry ground for miles. Apparently, as Irma went by this particular part of the Bahamas called Long Island, pulled the water away from the island. People were shocked. They were out here walking on the sand. Granted, it's pretty shallow, but that's a lot of weight. You know how much weight that is? And it's headed right for the Keys that look very similar. So that same phenomenon is probably going to occur sometime tonight near the Keys. Look for the water to just disappear. I did read where the water is slowly coming back to that area. That is very eerie for the water to just vanish like that. Storm surge, hurricane warning for the entire peninsula of Florida. It's going to turn into a water world. Looking for anywhere between 10 and 20 inches of rain. Expect more than that now, that it's slowed down to 7 miles per hour. That is absolutely insane. So it's got, like I said, a lot more time to strengthen and drop more rain. Florida is unique. Its terrain is very porous, it's sandy, and there are a lot of aquifers underneath the peninsula of Florida. However, the aquifers are pretty full right now because of the exceptional rains that they've had this year. So I think the drought that they had was pretty much squelched with the rains that were dumped over the peninsula back a few months ago. The aquifers are probably in pretty good shape. Okeechobee, when I lived in Florida back in 2000, 2004, Okeechobee was bigger. So some people have asked about Okeechobee. If it fills too rapidly, yeah, it could compromise the system, but I don't think it will. It could, trust me, it could if it fills too fast. And with this thing slowing down to 7 miles an hour, yeah, the odds of that breaching just went up. Absolutely. Tampa. Someone asked me, they're in the Tampa area. I would keep an eye on this storm because it's slowed down. So a lot can change. Right now the models are still showing this thing coming right at Tampa. So if you're in the Tampa area, you're in a very complex, unique situation because the Bay Area is forecasted to flood with, 2 to 6 feet of storm surge? So any type of commerce in this area in the coming days, probably weeks, is going to be impossible. Power outages are probably going to be 100% certain unless you're in an area that has underground power service. Because if this is by the eye wall, it's going to see extreme winds. So anything above ground on power poles is going to be on the ground. So if I were in this area, I would be going inland a little farther, definitely away from the coast. And I would look for a place that has underground power service. That's what I did in 2004 during Hurricane Charlie, and I didn't lose power for any longer than 1 hour. I had friends that didn't have power for between 2 to 3 weeks, and I knew one guy that didn't have power for a month. So that's the best advice that I can give you. But this storm is unlike any storm I've ever seen. that water phenomenon here, that that stunt that it just pulled down there by the lower Bahamas, that is incredible. Do you know how much weight is involved in that? And I did a video a while back about the waves around the eye of this storm. And I confirmed them at Null School. First I did it on here, and that's what I did in the video, was on the Venture Sky. But I'd confirmed them on Null School, and I'd heard them mention these wave heights on the Weather Channel. The professionals at the Weather Channel, because there were some clowns that tried to discredit me and say that my wave height numbers were exaggerated. Well, I would say that they were probably underestimated. Those wave heights were very real, and they are still very real. So this is a very unique storm. Be on the lookout for, obviously, storm surge is going to be the biggest threat. 10 to 15 feet, that's going to eclipse one-story getting into two-story homes. So that's going to be reminiscent of Hurricane Ike, Hurricane Katrina type scenario. And guys, it could be worse. This storm is doing some anomalous things. So be prepared for anything. Also, be prepared for this. This is probably going to be commonplace in Florida, probably during and after this storm. You're going to see anywhere from 10 to 20 with this thing slowing down. That's what they based their rain forecast on, was the forward speed of the storm. Obviously, it's going to drop very intense rain, but if it's moving at 16 miles an hour, that's what they calculated it on. Okay, 10 inches here, 20 inches here, 5 inches here. Well, now that it's dropped to half the speed, you're going to see twice the rain. So it's going to turn into a water world. So I don't know that anywhere on Florida is a good place to be. The peninsula is going to get quite chaotic. You're going to have sinkholes. I know for a fact they're going to pop up because they pop up on a normal day. Swallow homes. And the sun's out. So be prepared for that. You're probably going to see this type of scenario in a lot of places. So it's just something to think about. You got the gators being displaced from the storm surge, and now you've got this storm slowing down to 7 miles an hour, so it can cause more damage. That's a big deal, guys. So it's just a big heads up. Stay away from the coast. If you can at all possible avoid it, look for an area that has underground power service. That will help the situation, and try to stay away from the eyewall. But it's going to be very dicey on the entire peninsula of Florida in the next 48 hours, now probably 72 hours, because this storm has slowed down by 50% since yesterday. Thanks for watching, guys, and be safe out there.